Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sincere apologies for the break in transmission, but we are back. We are live on set for Trends. And of course, like I said earlier, we have our amazing guest with us in the studio, the person of KickyAngel, and we are in for a scintillating conversation. So I wanted to ask your passion for women or for the girl child or women generally. I believe it's not just the girl child. It's a general, that passion must have stemmed, there must be a story behind it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what is the story behind this found passion?
Okay, so I've said this to a few of my friends and family, and I've said it to encourage women out there. Growing up was not really rosy for us. We grew up in a very horrible background.
Wow.
Yes, it was abject poverty.
My God.
And all that. Yes, and my parents, lover of God, they loved God so much, but they didn't get the right structure. They didn't get the right wisdom to navigate this love towards the right thing. So they believed in, we don't know the child that will make us great,
Wow.
So yes, so they went on, just kept having kids.
How many children did you have?
We're 10 in total.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a football team.
Wow. And it was a struggle keeping up with these children. Like I used to say to a lot of people that, to be honest, things will not get better. Things might not get better. But God can single you out as a person and favor you. That even if a bag of rice is 500,000, you are comfortable enough to afford it. But does it mean the world is better? No,
not necessarily.
The world will not get better. Yes, no. So you must learn to just be wise, see God's face in everything, even in childbearing. Childbearing. It was poverty, things were getting worse, they were just moving from heart to mouth and all that, So eventually, long story cut short, I didn't even know, because if admissions were to be given to people, my other brother got admission to Kogi State University, and all, but come and pay school fees now. No way.
The struggle.
I remember, I will never forget Brahma things. It was my father, God rest your soul. I wanted to be an actress. He said, no, yes, actors are prostitutes. No.
God.
I was like, okay, let me be a journalist. I was still revolving around.
Yes.
He said, no, they are poor. Look at all the journalists with their neck along. I said, okay, what will I be now? Okay, I was just 16. I was confused, and you know how you need some other subjects to make up your 9 subjects. My 5 core courses were there, and coincidentally, I was offering economics, accounting, and commerce. It was like, accounting. Ask my daughter, go and be an accountant. And I'm like, okay, fine. So that was not what I was excited about, And then we got to school. My elder brother, I love you. He sold his laptop because he wanted me to go to school. He said something I will never forget. He said, Kiki, if you go to school, he made an example. He said, if you have jollof rice, if you have rice and only palm oil and the seasoning, will the rice be okay would it be edible? I said, yes, it will still be edible. And he said, what if you now have rice? You now have chicken, and you now have coleslaw. I said, that one will even be better.
Makes sense more.
He said, what if you now have cold wine beside it? I said, even better. He said, that is the stages of life. That's how he explained life for me. He said, so whatever you get, or whatever level you find yourself, will determine the kind of people that would surround you. So if you want better life than this that you're seeing, go to school, try. Because at the point I was not interested in the struggle for school fee and everything. So
the stress of having to think about how to.
So he said he loved me so much. Like, okay, he sold his laptop, HP laptop, 40,000 naira, and he gave it to me, and I didn't even know how I arrived in school.
Did he go to school?
Yes, he was in his final year then.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I paid. I remember standing at the bursar office in the faculty where I paid my school fees, and that was all. There was no transport fare to take me from that point to anywhere. I didn't know where I was going to. I didn't know where to live. It was horrible. I was sleeping in the LT, in the lecture theater. Yes.
Wow,
I was
serious.
So, and then
your stuff, where were they?
everywhere. this person, because everybody like, okay, but since I'm not inconveniencing them, they can put up with my stuff. So I just splitted. It was here and there, and I was just, if I want to bath or change clothes, I'll go to this person's house, and it was a horrible. And guess what? I was the most cheerful person in school. You would even know that I was going through such a struggle. I because it was not a good thing as a then. It was not a good thing. It was because I don't think struggling is
was the normal way of life.
And I think that
we are accustomed to it.
Yes, and I feel like I'm struggling now. That means I'm going to
make it later in life.
It was the ideology growing up. So I happened to meet because I used to be in class early now. All these brothers I used to fellowship brothers. A very good friend of mine. I'm not going to say his name. He's probably stumbled across this video because I've forgiven him. So he was like, you can't be sleeping here. Come to my house. Don't worry, it is fine. You're like my sister. Okay, let's go. I like, thank you.
That's what I'm thinking.
It is. And then I went to his house that night. I went to pack my load from north, east, west, and south.
Hey.
I was like, finally home.
I have a place to stay.
Yes, and it did not even allow you to get 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or say, make yourself comfortable that night. And I was not even dressing in a way that was seductive. I remember wearing a very long trouser, a jean. I wore my jean, to sleep, and I just saw a hand caressing me in the middle of the night. I'm like,
brother,
oh God. Yes,
from fellowship.
Yes, and before then I had a friend.
Fellowship brother.
Yes, before then I had a friend.
You used to do morning cry.
Yes, he was hot. In fact, as I'm saying this now, if some of my classmates, they might be connecting the dots. Like, is it what I'm thinking?
Person?
Yes, Wow. And before then, a friend of mine had already taken me to. We traveled. She was like, "Don't worry, I'm going to teach her to make money." I went there. Me that I'm suffering. Me that is coming from nowhere. Yes.
Wow.
And that night, I remember it was after 11 to 12 thereabouts, and they were like, there's no food in the restaurant again, And the waiter said, we have pounded yam. I said, it is that pounded yam. And the men, they were amused, like, how you tip pounded yam?
Packaging.
Give me that video where I did come from. So I had that meal, and we went party. Like, I was like, look alive.
You felt like finally.
Yes,
I can enjoy.
After this, now they will not give me money again because they know I'm suffering. That was what I was thinking. Like, because they know I'm suffering. There's
good
Samaritan. I was not informed. After everything, then I started sharing everybody their room. I was still like maybe. It was later than somewhere with pot belly. I'm telling you, a very popular politician in Kogi State. I'm like, sir, this your stomach alone, sir. If I can see shift first. I started crying in the hotel room. And when I went downstairs, I caused a scene. And the lady that was like, what is this? And the man was like, he doesn't want any further embarrassment. I should go stay in the room. He will stay on his own and all. And that's I left. And when I was going, they gave me 20,000 naira. I said,
20.
Half of your school fees.
I was like, I was a big girl. I was like, what? So that 20,000 I was able to, manage myself around the school and all. But my friend that took me there, she was really pissed because I literally.
But she didn't tell you anything now.
No, she didn't know that I didn't know.
Okay, she felt like
I should
get
understand.
Okay.
So I collected. They gave me their numbers and card, and I'm like, thank you, these people, nice people, thank you. As Satan will walk. When I came back to school and things were now going left, that was when this brother now offered me to stay in his house, and then he tried to touch me. So I was hungry, I was broke, I was like, what is this? If a Christian brother then let me just carry my body and just be making money and be enjoying myself, And I just picked my phone. I remember that I was standing in front of the school gate, and I just called that number and like, hello, like, who is this? And I was like, okay, cry baby. Yes, like, come now, where are you? Come to Lokoja. I knew. I was going to Lokoja. I was in the car that day, but I knew. I knew what would happen, And I went, and I remember, I've never shared this publicly anywhere. And I remember I was just there lying down, it was a horrible experience. So, and I knew that was not who I am, because I was a good girl. I was a good child. It was just circumstance.
The situation was
I just wanted to survive. I just needed to go to school and all that. So when I think about these setbacks and what I experienced as a person, I knew that we all have a role to play in bettering the world, the girl child, helping them, women, giving them
how to navigate life.
And when I empower women, when I talk about women empowerment, I don't even worry myself about those who are 8 years and 10 years, and I want to speak to their parents. I want to speak to the mothers, because this is the problem my parents didn't see ahead of time. But you can do better, you know. You can be a better parent, you can be a better mother, you can be a better father, so that your children does not have to go through what I went through, you know. So that was where the passion just came from, and I was like, I have to tell the world that, look, there is always a repercussion
for every action,
you know. And we Africans, we need to snap out of God the trained children. Yes, I know saying God the trained children,
but you also have to
a part to play.
You make plans and everything.
Yes, but I thank God for how far He has brought us down.
This story in itself, it tells a lot about the intentionality to do what you do. You see, there is a way you pick up a passion by virtue of just observation. You observe things and then you are passionate about solving it. But then it's a different dimension, it's a different depth when it's not just observation, when it's experience. And everybody you see them in the shoe of what you could have been that Christ has saved you from. And then you say, you know what, I'm going to find a way to ensure that this person doesn't have to go through what I went through and all of that. If I would ask you, what would you say is the number one problem of the woman, or let's say the African woman, because I'm putting it within a context so that we can understand it easier within that context. What would you say is the number one problem of I can't say the woman child now because we are speaking generally, of the woman in Africa?
Well, I think the number one problem is that we've been trained for too long to think that we're limited. We've been made to believe that we cannot go cross a certain line.
There's already an expectation that they expect you to fill in.
So you're living within a certain circumference. You cannot even think outside the box. You know, when I talk about educating the women child, it's not just the four walls of school. You know, we as graduates, there is a mistake we make. We forgot that education encompasses formal, informal, and even holistic education. You know, where you learn in the institution, you learn from your environment, and you learn by logical thinking. But you know, a lot of us is limited to just a certain thing, a certain expectation, and like I tell people, we are no longer in 1945. We will never be in 1945. This is 2025.
Time has changed.
You move with the time.
Yes, true.
We must move with the time. But a lot of African women are still held back in the 1945 ways of doing things. Now, I'm not an advocate of women going out of board, misbehaving, submission, and all those kind of arguments in the internet right now. No. I'm married, I've got kids, and I don't intend to go anywhere. I will finish using my husband. So I'm not an advocate. I do not support that. You know, I encourage submission and all. But I also want every woman to know that their life does not begin in marriage. African women think that.
I think that is not said enough.
Honestly,
as I'm not married now, and you know, and it's because they are not educated enough. No matter the masters and degrees that you have, there is a certain kind of education that you need to know, which is the unlearning and the relearning. You know, to know that you are complete in yourself. You are complete in yourself with or without marriage. I mean, marriage is a beautiful thing. It completes us. But it does not make us whole. It is not the only thing that makes us. It completes us, but it's not the only thing that makes us. So African women think that marriage, that's all. Oh, have to marry. Now you now find out that you're married.
What next?
What else?
You now find out that I don't know. I'm confused since I've been married. When I got married, there was no food. I continued, but there was so many plans. You know, I just made sure that I married somebody that like, oh God, this is
That
it. This, does
understood
he
the plans.
align with, like, okay, it's fine, do you know? So if you have somebody who understands that and you're married to somebody whose vision align with yours, the sky is your starting point. It's not marriage that will now start telling you what to do. It's not that marriage that will now start telling you. The man is probably busy with his own dreams, and later enough, and my husband, let's see, you know, that's why you see some marriages, the husband is like this, the wife is still behind, or the wife is like this, the husband is, because one of the spouse doesn't have a vision. You know, so marriage is not an excuse not to have a vision. I think vision is just the vision, and certain ideology is the major problem that African women face.
This is solid. You know, I said that because I asked that question because oftentimes I try to think, what is the intersection between the evolution of the female gender, and I'm using that word loosely, right? The evolution of the female gender, and as it concerns our faith as Christians, because some of the subtle accusations that have come against, or that have come against the feminine gender, has its roots in patriarchy. Patriarchy has its roots somewhat in a thwarted understanding of scriptures, because there are scriptures that, when not understood, seems to be an endorsement for the subjugation of the female gender. So where is the intersection? Where do you draw the line between obeying scriptures and knowing that this is not... I don't know if you get my point.
Yes.
So where do
honestly, even me, at times I'm guilty of that. We do not read to understand. We don't read. We do selective reading. Even our father in the Lord, Apostle, at times I say a lot of people like,
they will fight.
This man, I knew it. They're all the same.
Yes.
You know, so we do selective listening, selective reasoning, selective reading. You know, so that verse of the Bible that says, if you even read Proverb 31, that these African men like to quote.
That woman.
All the
African men like to quote.
like, you are not a Proverb 31 woman. Solomon, the mother taught him her ways. Solomon was not talking about a virtuous woman, and he listed all the things. Look at that thing. Logically, can one woman do all that? No, let's be honest ourselves. You know, can one woman actually do that? Is it even good? Is it even biblical? Because according to Proverbs 31, the man does nothing. So what Lamed was saying was, who can? Because that's how he found and went and followed 1,000 women. He was looking for Proverbs 31. He couldn't find.
Good, have you?
You know, he was like, no, this is the standard my mother has taught me. If you know me like this, I don't want. And then first wife, no Proverbs. Second woman, no. No, his wisdom. Third woman, not provided. Fourth woman, not provided. Fifth, 200, 600. You will find Proverbs 31. Went all around Africa. Went to.
My God.
That's how Solomon did not find Proverbs 31 woman. The person that is the leader, the champion of Proverbs, did he find? He said, who can find? He said, none. So when we are reading our Bible, read it to understand. In fact, I always advise, if you don't understand a particular chapter, go back to the next before. Understand the story behind it.
Context.
At times you find out that somebody just killed somebody and be like, why now? What did he do? You forgot that one time he attacked another person's village. The Bible is not something you read one chapter and I don't understand. You see what the Bible said? Be submissive to your husband. And what did he say to you? He didn't just end there. He said, men, love your wife as Christ loved the church. And Apostle has taught us that what is love of God, women.
But they don't want, they are not ready.
They are not ready to be the men that deserve a Proverbs 31 woman. You know, because there is no woman, except something is wrong with her, that you love unconditionally and sacred. In fact, if we even find such a woman, we would gather and like, you this woman, what's wrong with you? You know, but you and your wife, take for instance, you and your wife, you know you have to work.
Yes.
You know you have to work. You know that she's coming back from work 8 o'clock tired. You're coming back from work 8 o'clock tired. Everybody's exhausted. And God's so kind. There's one sweet ogbono in the freezer. And like, thank God. And you quickly microwave it and you're turning Gary like, no. I want fresh food. I'm not a Proverbs 31 Uber. Is that fair? No, to be honest, is that fair?
It's
you
not
both
at
are
all.
exhausted. Okay, let us sit down at home and not do anything and cook. Because at times when people say, oh, my wife cook, I'm like, what does your wife do? You find out that she's at home 24 hours. Like, if it's me that is at home 24 hours, What's fresh food?
Cook.
I will cook. From morning till night, I will be cooking. In fact, I think she's not even doing her job right. Because if she's not told her, this is not a fresh food. You know, so we fail to understand that we need to apply logic to some things. You know that the Bible is a book that
I think the whole issue with should women submit, that this it's been a
endless
it's
argument.
an age-long
Yes.
argument as to what is the extent of submission. In fact, even as feminism now even creeps into mainstream,
Confusing.
now there seems to be a lot of so this is it above the woman. So people should not do certain things.
Should
It
be
be for a
restricted
man, for
to a
example.
certain
The woman should not
position.
be president. The woman should, all those kind of mindset, they are patriarchal. And that even Romans 12 says about understanding scripture contextually. It's saying that before, if you read Romans 11, the Apostle Paul began to describe the things that Christ, all of these things, offer your body as a living sacrifice. Right? Submission ought to be in knowledge. But you see, there is a kind of man that is easy to submit to.
Exactly. That makes it easier.
That makes it easy to submit to, because I used to say before, I used to tell people that I'm a feminist, right? people, but I say that consciously, and I say that within a context, and I say that within the context of feminism as it ought to be. The feminism as it ought to be is supposed to be a movement that seeks the empowerment of the female gender. Because history has never been kind to the female gender over the years. We see that even in scriptures. When the woman that was caught in the act of adultery was caught, nobody said anything about the man.
The
fellow men that probably had their way with her before,
Earlier.
they led the gang that were stoning her. But we saw that Jesus was someone that had passion. In fact, we saw that the wives of major leaders in the land as at the time were part of Jesus' disciples. Were top disciples. So much so that when they were going to kill him, it was Pilate's wife that said, "Oh God, wash your hand for this thing. This man is a righteous man." You see how that Jesus believes in the women's ministry. So much so that some of his right hand people were women. We had Mary Magdalene, the one that went. There were women around him. So I try to say that when the devil now hijacked the idea of feminism was when what ought to be the empowerment of the female gender now became the subjugation of the male gender, of the masculine. So look at this. It is still, this is also what we had before. The male gender was here, was perceived to be here, and the female gender was perceived to be here in society. And feminism ought to be, okay, let the female gender rise.
Gender balance.
In the sense that, of course, there's in the home, within the context of the home, there's nothing like equality, because the man is the head.
Yes.
But as man and woman, if we meet in the workplace, there's nothing like I'm a man.
We are both.
No. That is only within the context of the home that Christ made the man the head. If you are in your working place, if you have the skills and the qualification, you should be the head. Right?
Yes.
So what ought to now? This is where the problem came. What ought to be? This is the male gender. This is the female gender. What ought to be? Okay, let's step up the female gender in society to have equal rights, equal opportunities with the male gender. Instead of that, what the devil now came to do was, instead of bringing this up, let's bring this down. Now, in doing that, you are emasculating the male gender. That's why we have.
And still, the women are not being empowered.
They are not being
at the
empowered.
end of the day. They are bitter. Like they are made to become bitter.
Exactly.
You know, I'm supposed to say that Satan does not have any idea. He infiltrates.
Yes.
He infiltrates. He's this person. He's this kind of principality that waits for God. So gender, in fact, when you hear the clamor for gender inclusion, it means there's a place where, when you hear the word inclusion, it only means there's a place where men
to step up.
Exactly. Not an opportunity for men to now be relegated to the back, and women should now take charge.
So what happens in society now? That's the whole genesis. See, the devil, he thinks long term. Because in fact, I think it was today I showed you a video. I showed her a video, and I said, "This lady is beautiful, right?" He said, "Yeah, it's a him."
He's ashamed.
You know, and what happened? It started from those things, so that they made it look like the feminism as hijacked by the devil, as produced and directed by the devil, came in such a way that the male gender was now began to get rubbished.
Yes.
So it's, for example, Apostle always say that rudeness is a weak person's attempt to imitate strength.
Yes.
So when a person is weak, the only way they can communicate with you is to try to bring you to that level.
Yes.
So they are rude to you. They want to bring out the area in you. So that two of you are here. We are now all of us as it ought to be the empowerment of, and for that I am a feminist.
Yes.
The empowerment of the female gender. That yes, you have what it takes.
On. And because they've been relegated, back then women don't go to school.
Yes.
We want them to go to school now.
I mean,
back then women don't do a certain job. Oh, come on, you can be a pilot. Oh, you can be an engineer. That is what women inclusion is about. That is what gender empowerment is all about.
Yes.
Not that, oh, it is an opportunity for you now to be rude to your husband or for you to now behave in a certain way, or you say, I'm king of this home.
And you don't want to listen to anybody.
So you now see
those
women.
are nonsense.
You see women.
Women's strength does not lie in your ability
Exactly. I was just going to say that
disobey or outshadow the male gender. You know, whether in your house or outside your house. Your strength lies, I believe, that my strength lies in the fact that my husband knows I'm capable of this thing. He knows I have the capacity to do this thing, but I choose not to do it because he says no. I'm like, okay, we can discuss about it. It doesn't stop me from keep telling him that I think
I want to do this.
But for now, because you are the head of this home, even if this thing looks foolish to me, no problem. I respect.
It's my choice, not by force.
That's
not that I ask.
And guess what? I found out that the moment I just submit to that level, and because my husband is not foolish, he knows that you can actually go ahead and do this thing. So the moment you just submit, and that's when he now like, okay, go ahead. See, he now comes down. He now becomes, you know, whatever. He allows you to now tour him around, like, okay, do whatever you want. But the moment you show him that, you
there will be no peace in the house.
There will be no peace in the house.
I think the male strength and the female strength are different, and we don't understand it.
Yes, I think women are more. Respect to the men, but I think women are more powerful than men. They are just dragging a man's strength. We are more powerful.
If a woman stays within the ambit of her strength, she's more powerful.
But
it's like the neck telling the head that look. It's like the head telling the neck that I'm the head. Women might be the neck, but they are the controller.
Yes, we have more power.
If they stay within the ambit of what their own strength.
Exactly. You have access to everything. You have the heart of your husband, you have your children, you have
and
anyone.
God will even answer your prayer faster.
Do you know that a woman is more authoritative and more powerful when she's feminine than when she's masculine? Because usually, so we believe that strength, because the patriarchy has messed with the mind of everybody.
Women,
so we believe that to be like a man, we have to assume that manliness. So you see women calling themselves king. You see women calling themselves things that shows you that this person is trying to be another man. But you see, the truth of it is that God created it that where the strength of the woman is in her femininity. A woman in her femininity will bring down any man. Any man. Was it not John the Baptist, the prophet, strong John the Baptist? strong John the Baptist. That a woman, I'm telling you that a woman, Elijah, is
ran from a woman.
The one that he came in the spirit and ran. Jezebel appeared, he ran. The same person called down fire. There was a time that captains of the army were coming to. As they are coming, they are roasting. Like 5 batches came. One came and started begging, Ejo, please have mercy. This is the kind of man that ran when a woman came. I'm saying that a woman that understands her femininity is more powerful than 1,000 men. You know, recently there was the argument of 1 man versus 1,000 gorillas. 1 woman versus 1,000 men. She can, if she's feminine, if she's in her femininity,
I should understand that grace.
And you just your explanation just gave me an insight now that the word king is the description for a male ruler or leader. Then the word queen is a description for a female ruler. Now they are not calling you a king because you are a male ruler. It's because of the gender
Thank
you
you.
carry.
Thank
and
you.
you're a queen because of the gender. And that's why the Queen of England was queen, even though she was the queen.
Even though she's
never
the
called
ruler.
her King Elizabeth. It was queen.
So being called a queen does
queen
not make
doesn't
you
mean
less. Thank
you are
you.
still a ruler, but your gender makes you a queen. That's just,
That's
it's not,
just it.
yes, you know.
That's just it. And this is what now brings the whole. Now people are confused about their genders because they feel more comfortable in another skin.
Exactly.
A man is born as is born male, but feels like he's not comfortable in his skin. He wants to be female.
And I think that comes from the definition that they've attached to each gender. Because you are a man, you are supposed to be strong, you are supposed to be this. So when they don't feel like that, they think I must be a woman.
Emotional.
Yes.
He feels in touch with his emotions.
Even growing up, we traumatize these children. Stop crying like a woman.
Yes.
Leave him alone.
The truth of it, this is a very deep matter.
It is.
Because I just look back and I see how well the devil has journeyed with people, and I think that so he had this plan all along. This guy
now
is
we don't know.
Because
Now
he will creep in softly,
and before you know he has, because when you look at it now, you see a young boy that tells you that he's unsure of his sexuality, whether he's male or female. Why? How? Who told you? Like, where did you? Are you? Is everything okay? Like, look at you. You're a man, bro. Like, what is making you feel? So he feels like because he's probably he's more in touch with his emotions as a man. Whereas society tells you that as a man, you should be crude, harsh, and out of touch with your emotions. Now, of course, I understand the need to also have strong men. Yes, we also actually need strong men society that can be the backbone and can bring that stability. But you see, men should also be allowed to express emotions. It is those emotions that are bottled up that the devil has confused now and said, this thing you are feeling, you're actually supposed to be a woman.
Exactly.
And what would have never made sense before, now it makes sense. In fact, talking against it, they have a name for it. It's called homophobia.
Yes.
You talk about, and it's a crime.
Yes.
So if you talk against it now, it's a crime.
Too much. And you know, God has given us so much wisdom in order for us to solve our problems.
Yeah.
But then again, Satan infiltrates. He comes and destroys things. Like the science, for example. God gave these people wisdom and knowledge to correct certain things. Because indeed, there are people who were biologically born with both genders, and all that. So now God has given one this wisdom. If that was a problem, okay, this is the solution. So these surgeons, the wisdom God gave them is to provide solution to the problem. But now they've left those problems. Now, they perverted. Now, if I can do this, I can change a normal human being completely to whatever gender that you feel. Now, this is where Satan has now twisted.
And that's why even as believers, God has called us to shine our lights. I remember, I think it was Apostle that was sharing that story of how that God was sharing with, there's this man of God that had a vision, and God was speaking with him and was saying that he held a certain technology for years. He didn't release the knowledge of that technology on the earth because he was waiting for a Christian that would rise in that field,
so he can
do the research, and God can give him, but it didn't happen. So he had to. There was need.
For God at that moment.
God is still cares for the world, whether saved or unsaved. He still has passion. So he wants to see people helped. So he still had to release that technology. Now the problem is that once that technology gets into the hands of the wrong people, it's going to produce the wrong results. And in the long run, the devil is going to yield from it. We are going to be at the receiving end. We'll just be playing catch up. That's what the church has been doing.
Catch up.
You know, I don't know if you remember Apostles' series on Game of Thrones. I'm currently writing.
Yes.
You know, and when I was writing this film, Holy Spirit just keep revealing so many things to me, and it's so amazing. You know, Apostle said in episode 1 that we are behind schedule. What he's teaching us now, we something would have learned many years ago, but God is going to help us and all that. So we need to realize that, I'm a Christian, I want to just go to heaven. It's not enough. God wants to be everywhere. He said, after he created us in Genesis, he said, take charge, dominate. So why have we restricted ourselves? This is not domination. We are not dominated the world. In fact, we are restricting God by our foolishness.
Yes.
I just want to know. So we now
want to make heaven
things as sins. I can't go into politics, so it's a sin. I can't do this. it's a sin. Very soon, and they will say medicine is a sin. Nobody should study
Nobody
medicine.
should study
That's where
medicine.
Satan is going to. Because when he start making all these doctors to start doing things that was the essence, the useless cause, Meanwhile, God wants us to be there to make the difference, So I think we're not taking charge enough, and we need to encourage our children so that the next generation would, be better, and know that I can carry God anywhere.
Yes.
We used to grow up thinking that the only place we can carry God is in church, be a pastor, just be usher, choir, that's all. What about the life after that? These people have life beyond being choirs, being church, being pastors and all that. So we need to do better so that we can influence our generation, right?
The thing is, the time we even spend in church is very, very less compared to the time that we
spend outside.
Yes.
So what are you doing outside? Speaking in tongue on the street? Where your mates are discovering things.
So because I want us to have this conversation long and but for the brevity of time, I want to ask you this question as we begin to draw the curtain on this segment of the show, right? What would be your advice? Now, there are women watching this. Women will stumble on this video. They'll see it, will share the clips. If you had the opportunity, let's say this was a seminar, and you had 5 minutes, 3 minutes to communicate the deepest burden of your heart to the female gender, what would that be?
Wow. I would say that women have lost focus. And that focus is the devil's tools to deceive us from actually doing God's purpose, actualizing God's purpose in our life. As a woman, you have a lot of role to play in the world. Just today, the Holy Spirit revealed something to me. I was watching something online, and they were like, oh, we should give our children structure so that they will do this, they will do that, and the Holy Spirit say there is no amount of structure you give to a child if you're not yourself. We are the structure. There's nothing, and it makes sense because I've got kids, and if you tell them leave there, come down there, but they'll do what they want to do. But there's something I realized. My 2-year-old knows la 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 la. We are what it, and I realized that because whenever I want to play music, those are my playlists. So that is the structure. I am the structure. Yes, they don't even know. I'm trying to remember any circular song now. They don't know. I'm sure if my kids go to a party where they'll probably lose in the dance competition because they don't know. But play Dusu for them. They will dance and all. So that is to prove that we are the structure.
Yes.
We are the structure.
Yes.
You must do what you want your children to become, and it boils down to what they also become in the society. You want them to do better, you want them to love God in a certain way. You have to become
model it.
Yes, model it. You can't say, I want you to grow up and become a doctor and be this and be that and be that, and you, my mother, you are doing nothing at home.
Or worse, you say don't lie, and then you are the one telling her, tell them I'm not.
I'm not.
You are the structure. Remember this. I think whatever we want to become, whatever we want our family to become, whatever good thing we envision, remember that you.
Okay, I have a question. So what advice will you give to a girl child? Let's say she has a dream to be anything she wants to be. She has a dream beyond ending her life in marriage. But here's her parent, her mom telling her that you have to be fast, get married, training her essentially just to end up in a man's house.
So how
so what advice? And the Bible say honor your parents, be obedient and all of that. So what advice will you give her? How will she navigate that kind of scenario so that she'll be able to achieve her own desire while still being respectful to her parents?
That's a very tough question because African parents, they know how to emotionally rope you around things and like you are disobedient. I remember when I was 16 years old. You remember? Okay, she was a child, she was a baby then, and my sister like, you have to get married, you have to do this, you have to do that. I mean, because there was no money and this person was doing well and all that. Like, no, I want to go to. He will send you to school. So I think the motive behind it, send me to school, that sounds great, right? That sounds good, but the motive behind it is what is wrong. So I think the motive behind whatever anybody is doing is very important, you know, very important, and we cannot take the place of prayer. I downplayed prayer growing up, you know, I didn't know how powerful prayer was. How powerful prayer was, and patience is key. Let me tell you something. I know that there's time for everything, and at times you find out that a particular season has passed. But with the mistake I made during my time, if I had known better, I would have waited, walked, find a way to manage myself. Because why? I'll come out with so much honor, that knowing that I did this the right way. So yes, patience is key to navigate both family, friends, and life, and the motive behind why you're doing something is very important. Because if the motive is wrong, you would see it will lead to disaster. You know, so motive, patience is very key. Don't worry if your friends. All my friends that I rushed, I went to school and came back. Maybe they have graduated eventually. Even those that had 4 years delay, they are all graduates now. So it is very important to know that God's time is always the best. And if you're a person that holds God to His word and promises, it is never late for you. He'll do it. I have that regret, you know, as a person. I like, oh God, I should have waited. Because I know better that it was still possible. It was still, I would have followed another route. It was still possible.
But I think the beautiful thing about God, and your story is one that shows that, is that God is a restorer. I mean, when He does His work, God is so beautiful, right? The devil thinks he wins, but God always gives the fight. He always has the last laugh. Because I mean, look at the beautiful message that God has brought out of whatever it is that had happened. While it was going on, God did not like what was going on, and He reached out and got you saved. Now you are saved. That story now becomes strength. A pedestal strength. You now like Paul, you can say, with the comfort wherewith I have been comforted. People that will listen to you now, there are people that can agree and familiarize what you're saying, because you are not just speaking from head knowledge. You have experiential knowledge, and God has used that to glorify Himself. And I think it's the beauty of grace. It's the scandal of it's beautiful that God will take a mess, turn it to a message, and make that vessel glorious.
When I mean, you know, God had, I always had the calling of filmmaking, you know. And at times, I thank God that my father did not allow me to do what I wanted then, even though it was God's divine plan for me. Because if I had gone through that route then, I would have missed it. I would have been, maybe I'd probably be a very popular face now, and I was like, you know, actress and all, actor, but I would have not gone. With the knowledge I have now, I know that everything I do is to glorify God. It's for the kingdom. Like I said, I'm writing a story from Apostles' Game of Thrones, you know, a film from it, and you can see how things play out. You can see how God strategically map out things and people for a particular time and season. So it's very important that we do things that align with God's heavenly plan, because God's plan is how everybody will be saved. If we obey God individually, everybody will be saved. You know,
I love what you said now.
So the problem is, we are not aligning and giving God the glory. When we give God the glory, it's because He has done something on earth. I thank God that I didn't go there. I thank God it is now. At first I was like, God, I cannot be a preacher of your word because of my experience. At times I think about it like, oh, maybe somebody's going to wake up one day and go and say, this woman, I know you now. But I like, even though regardless of
and that's why when God does these kinds of miracles in our lives, we wear them as badges of honor. And I'm glad that you're speaking about it, because you can't shame the shameless. Now you can't. If I wear it on my sleeve, like this was my past, that Christ saved me from, and it is from that scar that healing streams are flowing to the nations. The worst.
So if I'm wearing it and I'm telling you not to do it, you will believe me.
And the devil cannot come back to hold you on that and say wants to create a spec. Everybody knows. I've said it. It's not who has something to hide that people. So I'm just excited at the realities of these things, and I want to especially say thank you. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for not holding back. Thank you for giving to the Lord. Thank you for being consistent. I don't know if our network is still good. Okay, I think we
are still live.
We're still live. But let me see. But it's free. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for the breaky transmission, but we're back, and it's been a super, super exciting conversation in the studio. I mean, we have been having, I mean, really enlightening, and I'm just excited that we can see what God is doing and what God has done and what God is yet to do. And
yes.
I want to specially say thank you. Not just for coming on the show. Thank you for being amazing. Thank you for taking your message of hope to the ends of the earth. Thank you for inspiring the female gender, the girl child, the woman, every female out there, you know, that needs to know how this thing should be done. And honestly, I feel like we do not give women their flowers enough. This world will be without color.
Yes.
Yeah, we beautify the world.
I mean, truly. Just imagine that it's just these guys. All these guys behind the camera. Imagine that it's just them. I mean, it will just be black and white. But thank God, and big shout out to every woman out there. I know it's not Women's Day, but this is me especially saying we celebrate you. We see your labors.
I
mean, it won't be wrong if it was. I mean, because you deserve it and more. Thank you for being awesome. Big shout out to all the women around this today.
Number one, I'm very happy about today's, like every episode is amazing, but today, so what I'll just say is it's still the same thing we've been saying before to every girl child watching me and to our parents. Train up your child. The Bible says train up your child in the way they should go, and when they grow up they will not depart from it. So when you are training your child, don't train them from the mindset of Apostle will say something like don't let them become what you wanted to be, but you didn't have the opportunity to.
Extension of your
Try to discover them, know who they are, know the plan of God for them, and then train them up in that aspect. So that would be my advice for parents and for children. Allow God to build you. He has good plan for you. That goes beyond the confines of marriage. Marriage is sweet, relationship is sweet, everything will come at the right moment. Absolutely. But just focus on one step at a time, lines upon line, precept upon precept. So focus on what God wants you to do, and you find yourself at the right place at the right moment. Thank you.
Amazing. Woman of God, any final
Thank
words?
you so much for being here. And I don't know if I can, say this, but
yes, you can.
We our NGO is launching an app.
Yes, you mentioned
the app. It's called Connect Her Network, and the app will be available for download at the end of the month.
Okay.
And the app is exclusive for women. I'm sorry to the men.
No, we are not.
No problem.
We are me. I'm not.
It's just for women, and like I say to everybody, it is not an opportunity for women to converse and now. Be something else and alliance of evil. No. So this platform is basically to synergize all the women in the world. So irrespective of your age, tribe, color, tradition, religion, this is an app where you're welcome to express yourself. And it is a place where we have partners that will be giving out things to women, from certification courses to empowerment and all that. So it's a place where you're using your data. One day I will just get one, and it is completely free and fair. More details on this app will be made available.
I mean, we would love to keep all our audiences abreast. So please,
we have some few persons. It's a global app. We have 29 countries already.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
so during the course of the launch, official launch will be August 9 during our conference. So from the end of this month, it will be available so that we can get reviews and feedbacks.
Okay.
Okay.
Also, can you share your handle Instagram?
Yes,
so they want to
my
connect
personal Instagram handle is at KickyAngel. That's KICKYANGEL at KickyAngel.
All together.
Yes, together, no, nothing in between. All together. KICKYANGEL. Once you get to that page, you see every other page. You see the NGO page there, just on my bio. Connect Network Foundation. You see our film. Our film house handle there as well, Lighthouse TV. Please do well to follow us, and the Lord bless you all continuously in Jesus' name.
Thank you. I mean, it's been an amazing. It feels like we shouldn't even end.
Honestly,
we're already behind time. It's been so amazing. Big shout out to all who were connected today. Wisdom Rave, I see you. Big shout out to you, Toyin Ayinla Global. Thank you so much. Ngozi, thank you guys for coming and for dropping your comments on the show. Ngozi says, good afternoon. Yes, a big well done, guys. Wisdom says, I learned a lot from our guests. Thank you so much. Of course, somebody's dragging here. He said, I know you felt especially happy about today's episode, right?
Yes, I am.
Big shout out to everyone. All right, until we come away again next time. So stay tuned. We'll be live on Thursday for another episode, and this time it's all Thursday episodes are you just want to come and unwind, chill, even as we get towards the weekend. So stay tuned, mark your calendars, and make it a date with us on Thursday where we come your way again. For now, bye.
Food has a way of bringing people together. It's a universal language that transcends borders and cultures.
Wow.
Food has a way of bringing